What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Muse podcast. We are on day 16 of 32 teams in 32 days, and we are wrapping up the AFC with the Denver Broncos. If you are not familiar with my previews, what we do is we go through additions and resignings, departures, draft picks, strengths, weaknesses. We talk about question marks for the team, record prediction, and a lot of other stuff. Last year on this very podcast, I predicted the Denver Broncos would go 10-6. They ended up going 5-11. It was by far my biggest miss of the year. Not even close. I really thought Drew Lock would piece it together enough with that just so much talent on the offensive end. Unfortunately, we saw Cortland Sutton go down with a knee injury. We saw Von Miller go down, and Drew Lock never got it together. So, that's the difference, man. This team has so much talent, and they're knocking on the door. It's just, can they put it together, right? So when we talk about additions and re-signings, they bring in Teddy Bridgewater, Cameron Fleming, Bobby Massey, Shelby Harris, Ronald Darby, Kyler Fuller, Kareem Jackson, and they tag Justin Simmons. I really like the idea of bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. I think when I look at Teddy Bridgewater, and I don't mean this as disrespect at all, I think he is the best backup quarterback you can have in football. He's a guy that you probably don't want as your starter, but he's a guy that you absolutely love to have him as that backup quarterback. Problem is he might have to end up starting for this team. And we'll jump to that here in a second. I love picking up, Darby, Kyler Fuller, two guys who are, tough nosed. Kareem Jackson, kind of same way. Justin Simmons, I know they've been having some troubles trying to reach into that extension. Hopefully they figure it out. But Justin Simmons, bad dude at that back end. So they bring those guys back. As far as who did they lose? They lose Jeff Driscoll. Not a big loss. Philip Lindsay, Nick Vanette, Demarcus Walker, Jarrell Casey, AJ Boye, and Will Parks. I don't think they lost a ton of talent. The Philip Lindsay thing, I think I kind of think a little bit higher of Philip Lindsay than most people, and maybe I'm off. But I talked about when I broke down the Houston Texans, I thought that was a pretty good pickup for them. Nick Vanette's a guy who, I'm a Pittsburgh guy. He never made it in Pittsburgh when he was traded from Seattle. So not a big loss there. Jarrell Casey, a guy to plug up that middle, but he's kind of lost a step over the years. AJ Boye clearly didn't want to be in Denver. So he is a great player, but another guy who's probably lost a step. So all in all, don't think they lost a ton of talent. When we talk about draft picks, I like their draft. And I think they have two guys who I really thought flew underneath the radar. So with their first round pick, they got Pat Surtain. When I look at him, well, actually, I should say Pat Surtain the second. When we look at his dad was super underrated, one of the best in the league, played right next to Sam Madison in Miami for a bunch of years. Pat Surtain the second is a guy who's ready. He's NFL ready. He's a guy who can start from day one, and I don't think that's a question at all. He's a very talented corner. I think he's a little stiff in the hips, but he's so smart and he's so strong. I think he covers up for some of those weaknesses. And when you look at a Nick Saban, I think he did a good job of protecting him with some of his weaknesses, like straight up speed. But I think he's going to do completely fine in the NFL. And I'm kind of curious how he's going to develop. Their second round pick is a guy I love, man. He's one of my favorite players in this year's draft, and that's Javonte Williams. Back from UNC, the only knock you can have for Javonte Williams is he's in a shared backfield with Michael Carter. I love this dude. If you don't know a lot about Javonte Williams, just go to YouTube and look at his run that he did against Miami. I mean, he showed burst, he showed wiggle, he showed tough running. I mean, that one play sums up Javonte Williams. The guy is an absolute monster, one of my favorite players. In the next round, they get Baron Browning, is a linebacker who is the prototypical for this NFL. He is fast, sideline to sideline. I've seen some people, I believe Draft Network had him as like a top 20 player in this year's draft. He ends up falling because of size issues. But I love this guy, man. And, he's that guy who if everything works out, the stars align, he ends up being like a Ryan Shazier, a guy who's just a sideline backer, can cover. He helps with those mismatches. So, is he a guy that's ready right now? Probably not. Does he gamble and sometimes get washed out and blocked? Sure. That's going to happen, man. The days of the 250, 260 pound Mike Backer are dead. And you need guys like this. They get Caden Stearns as well, but I love their draft picks, man. They did well to get another back behind Melvin Gordon because we don't know how long he's going to be with Denver, and they shored up that defense in two areas they needed help with. As far as team strengths, and this is the reason I said they would go 10-6 last year, is I absolutely love their offensive firepower. I mean, it is ridiculous. Take out the quarterback, altogether. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Cam Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick. I mean, this might be one of my favorite. I mean, it's top 3 in the league as far as my favorite group of skills. It's stupid. I mean, Noah Fant's knocking on the door to become in that top 5 tight end area. I mean, you're looking at clearly the top 3 are going to be Kittle, Kelsey, and Waller. I mean, if somebody said they have Noah Fant or Noah Fant's going to be number 4 after this year, I have no problem with that. Jerry Jeudy is one of the elite route runners in this league. Cam Sutton is I think he's almost better than prime. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting his name. Alshon Jeffrey, where he's just that 50-50 guy, and he somehow always, instead of 50-50, it's 70-30, comes down with it. KJ Hamler, an absolute burner. Tim Patrick, a tough dude. You know what I mean? Like this team is so stacked. It's just they don't have the quarterback, and that's where I jump into weakness. Drew Lock. That's it. That's all I have to say. It doesn't seem like he's the answer, even with the supporting cast. Lock's just not doing enough. And it's going to be interesting, is can they bring in Teddy Two Gloves, and can he answer that bell? You know, I just think the ceiling is capped so hard with these quarterbacks. Can they be productive as a team? Sure. Can they come close or maybe squeak into a playoff spot? Yeah, I think so. But there's just Super Bowl's not in their cards because of that one position, the most important position, not only in football, but in sports in general. So hopefully, one of those two guys takes a step up. I think we kind of know what we have with Teddy Two Gloves. And I think we unfortunately kind of know what we have with Drew Lock. But just hope, let's hope. Let's hope, we're always rooting for teams, right? So biggest question mark. And this is a huge one, man. If the Packers move Aaron Rodgers, can the Broncos land him? I mean, that would be huge. That literally changes them from a team that is around 500, a little below, probably, maybe a little above, okay, to being a Super Bowl contender, not a question about it. If he becomes available, the Packers are like, man, we're not doing this. It's too much of a pain. I think he'll end up being on the Packers. When I do my breakdown in a few weeks of the Packers, we'll talk about that then. But if they move him, man, we know Elway, he would love him. He would love him, man. So it's going to be interesting. But as far as the current roster, how it looks, my record prediction is 8-9. And again, I think I'm higher than most people. I don't know. I think I like the talent too much on this Denver team. And we didn't really talk about the defensive side with Von Miller and Chubb, who else is, Justin Simmons on that back end. I like this team. The defense isn't as vaunted as it was when, Manning was the quarterback. Still a solid defense. Von Miller's lost a step, whatever. But the offense should just click on all cylinders. But like I said, my bold prediction is I'm going to go back. I told you I love this guy, and I'm probably biased. Well, I'm not biased because I'm not from there, but I just love this guy so much. But my bold prediction is Javonte Williams will become the lead back before the end of the season. Therefore, this will be the last season that we see Melvin Gordon in a Broncos uniform. I think Javonte Williams is going to come on the scene. He's going to kick down the door, and I think he's going to blow up to one of those backs where like in fantasy football purposes, everyone's going to want him for next year. So if there's prop bets, definitely take a look at Javonte Williams because I think he's going to exceed expectations. Denver Broncos fans, let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm off base? Do you think I'm underplaying it? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion, man. That's why I do this. I do this to talk football. All right. Me looking at a camera, talking to myself, isn't the funnest thing in the world, but I do it for the interactions. So let me know what you guys think. And if you guys like the episode, or you want to support the show, click like, click subscribe, tell your friends. Man, it's the only way I can grow. So please help support the show, guys, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for sticking around for the entire video. Thank you for supporting the show, clicking that like button, subscribing, comments, all that fun stuff. If you could just take one more second and check out Rep Sports, check out Raise Energy. They are partnered with this podcast. They are help supporting me. So if you go and check them out, it's the best tasting energy drink on the market. 100% guaranteed. They have supplements, protein, pre-workouts, recovery, all that stuff. If you guys check them out and you use promo code SportsMuse when checking out, you get 15% off of your order. And who doesn't like, some money off of their purchase? That's awesome. So definitely check them out. And like I said, it helps support me. It helps support them. So please check them out, guys. And thank you again so much for sticking around.